Hi guys, just want to do a quick vlog on a trip that went very wrong a few days ago, and what I could have done different, maybe why it went wrong, and maybe you'll get something from the video. I don't know. It's Sunday today, 28th or 29th, 28th of November. Last Wednesday I decided to go for a wild camp. Weather forecast was good. Left later than I wanted to on Wednesday about lunchtime. Stopped for some lunch in Capel Curig at Shabod Cafe. So by the time I started up Shabod, it was about 2 o'clock, and sunset was at 4. I had a great walk up Shabod, up the Didee Ridge, and as I was going up the ridge I didn't feel ill, but I thought I feel a little bit off. By the time I got to the ridge I thought, oh, I don't feel well at all. So I still had the scramble up to the summit of Moel Shabod to do, and I started feeling sick, and I felt lightheaded, a little bit dizzy, and a little bit, I don't know, I thought I'm coming down with something. So I carried on. I did the scramble. It took me a lot longer than usual, and just as I got to the summit, thick fog came down and I started getting really shivery and not being able to think straight. So I walked over to the shelter and I sat there and I shivered for a bit. I found a spot to put the tent up, but I just wasn't well enough to put the tent up. So I sat there, layered up, and tried to decide what to do. By now the sunset had gone down, which I'd missed because it was on the other side of the mountain. I got a picture from the ridge, which I'll put in the video, and 5 minutes later the fog came down, and I'll put a picture on from when I was sitting in the shelter, and you can't see hardly anything. So I sat there and decided what to do, and I thought if I get any worse I'm going to be in real trouble. So I decided to make my way down, and because the fog had come down, I know Shabod quite well. I've done it a few times, but I got my compass and map out to plot my way to the path, because it's a horrible boulder field you have to walk across or walk round. I decided to walk round it. I got my compass out, and the needle on my compass was faulty. It was just flapping about all over the place. So I thought, no problem, I've got a head torch, I've got a torch, I'll just make my way down. So I started walking down and I started feeling worse, and I picked up what I thought was the path, which was a lot of rocks going downhill. And then the next thing I knew, I don't know if I hadn't been paying attention or whether it's just a bit funny in my head or what, I was just on a grass slope with no path. And I didn't panic or anything. I thought, I think I've wandered too far to the left. So I started heading crosswise downhill back to the right. Didn't find any path, so maybe I've gone the wrong way there, and I wandered round for a bit, still diagonally making my way downhill, no real panic, and eventually I came to a fence. I thought that's fair enough, I'll follow the fence down. The fence was steep. The hill was steep, it was soaking wet, there was just rivulets and little streams and water just running down the grass. It was very treacherous. Somewhere along there I slipped, so I was now soaking wet on my leg, and it's only wet grass. I was feeling a bit lousy. Thought, no problem, follow the fence down. Kept getting my secondary torch out because my head torch wasn't very bright. I thought I'll change the batteries in a minute, but at some stage following that stream down I lost my torch and by now my head torch was fading. I get down to a gorge where you couldn't get any further, and a rock wall in front of me, so I had to cross the stream, which was a bit difficult, but I did that. And then I thought I can't go any further without the head torch, so I got spare batteries out, managed to change the batteries in the dark. I didn't have my spare torch, and they were okay for a bit, but then they started fading. So Duracell batteries, but they've been in my bag a while, and I thought, where I thought I wasn't. I thought if I leave this stream now, I could be wandering for ages, and I felt worse and worse. I felt a bit wobbly. So I ended up phoning Mountain Rescue, something which I've always said I'd never have to do. And St Bear's Mountain Rescue, absolutely fantastic. And they've got a great app. They send you a text, you click on the link, and within a few minutes they can tell you where you are. And I'd wandered far too far round to the right, away from the path. I thought I was heading down to Platter Brennan. I was actually heading down towards the main road, towards Pennerpath. So I got talked down, followed the stream, which wasn't difficult, which wasn't very easy. It was really steep, down to a fence. Mountain Rescue went to the campsite along the road, parked up, and they walked down to meet me. And they took me back to the car, which is in Bringlow car park, and I was very, very grateful for the help. So what went wrong? Well, first of all, before I went, I put my watch on charge, which has a compass, has GPS positioning. I can get a grid reference off it at any time, and I left it at home on charge. That was the first mistake. If I'd had my watch, I could have just, when the compass didn't work, taken a grid reference, checked the map, see where I was, and made my way down. I thought after, should I have stayed on the top? I actually thought about in the shelter, because I wasn't well enough to put my tent up, just taking my tent out, laying it down, getting a sleeping mat and sleeping bag, and then folding the tent over me and seeing if I felt better in the morning. But then I thought, well, if I'm worse in the night, I'm worse off. So I didn't do that, and I'm glad I didn't, because I wasn't well for a few days after. It's only today really that I've been feeling okay. A bit cold now because I'm in the garden with no jumper on. So mistake number one, I never took all my equipment. I left my watch on charge, which would have saved the day or the night. And mistake number two, there isn't really one. I did the best that I could. Maybe I should have stopped earlier and phoned, but you don't want to bother emergency services unless it's necessary. Finding the fence was an ideal solution, great idea, follow the fence down. And the fence I thought I was following was the one that met up with the path by the stream, where you go down towards Platter Brennan. But it wasn't, it was further over to the right. And on the map, because I couldn't tell my direction accurately, I couldn't tell which stream was which. And my watch would have solved that problem. So there wasn't too much I could have done differently, but being fully equipped, a backup. New compass is coming tomorrow, so hopefully that won't happen again. So I just wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, there are times when you need mountain rescue, and this was one of them that saved me a night where maybe I would have got worse, maybe I could have, I don't know, I could have been really ill on the mountain. So if you have to phone mountain rescue, you have to phone them. And they told me, I told them I was embarrassed. They told me not to be embarrassed. They'd rather help someone than not help them. They did say you did your best to get down on your own, and I did do that. So never be afraid if you have to. Think about these guys and girls. It was ladies and gents that both came and helped me. There's 4 of them. And think about them being voluntary. I'm going to think about some sort of fundraising for mountain rescue, because they deserve it. They give up their time, use some of their own equipment, to help other people in need, so eternally grateful for that. And the other thing, sometimes if you're ill, you're ill, and there's not a lot you can do about it. And it's not the first time I felt ill on a mountain. Most times I've been able to just get myself down and get to bed for a couple of days and been okay. But in the winter, going dark very quickly. The weather forecast was for a very clear night, but that fog came down unexpectedly just as the sun was setting. If it had been a clear night, there would have been no issues, so be prepared for that. So the main lesson is a backup. Make sure your compass is working. If you rely on GPS signals, make sure you've got them as a backup. If you rely on a map or compass, always good to have some sort of technology as a backup. The other mistake I made on my phone, I do have software that would have shown me where I was, but because I was ill and I wasn't thinking straight, I didn't use that. I've got my cat come to say hello now. So just a quick video. When things go wrong, they can go very wrong. So on that trip, my compass was broken. I broke a pole. Not sure what happened there. I just played that back and the video cut off for some reason. So as I was saying, yeah, I broke the compass, broke a pole, lost a torch, but lesson learned. Sometimes you have to use the emergency services. So thanks for watching. Hope you get some tips from that. If not, you can have a laugh at my misfortune, and I'll see you in the next one.